Welcome to Arlington Public News. I'm Brenda Mahoney.
And I'm James Milan. Thanks for joining us.
In this edition of APN, we'll look at the increased bikeway usage and the twists and turns that have come along with its success.
We'll bring you an update on the many school construction projects underway in town. And we'll head over to the Mystic River to find out about upcoming riverbank restorations.
That and more up next. Stay with us. Newly elected Senator Cindy Friedman takes the oath of office, and the Water Street Medical Marijuana Dispensary gets the nod.
Mitch McLeod is here to bring us the stories in tonight's Snapshot. Take it away, Mitch.
Thanks, James and Brenda. She is now State Senator Cindy Friedman. Ms. Friedman was sworn into office at the State House on July 27th, 2 days after winning the special election for the 4th Middlesex State Senate seat. Senator Friedman will take her seat when the legislature returns to business later this month. Friedman won the Democratic primary in June, beating State Rep Sean Garbely and Mary Ann Stewart. Her only challenger in the general election was Green/Rainbow candidate Ian Jackson. Low voter turnout was the story of the day. In Arlington and Lexington, 14% of voters went to the polls, while the other three towns, Woburn, Burlington, and Billerica, saw only about 4% turnout. Friedman will serve out the 2-year term of Senator Ken Donnelly, who died from brain cancer in April. The next run for the seat takes place in November of 2018. The town's first medical marijuana dispensary gets the okay to set up shop. The Board of Health recently voted to give conditional approval to the Massachusetts Patient Foundation for a dispensary inside this medical building on Water Street. The board met several times with representatives of the dispensary, asking about security and employee training, as well as their plans to follow all state rules concerning medical marijuana sales. The board will only give final approval for the dispensary once several other conditions are met, including obtaining a final permit to operate from the state. The Massachusetts Patient Foundation tells APN they expect to have all necessary conditions met and hope for an opening by the end of the year. Arlington zoned the area for medical marijuana facilities, despite some concerns that there is a pediatrician's office there and its proximity to the Robbins Public Library. That's it for Snapshot. I'm Mitch McLeod. Back to you, Brenda.
5 Arlington public schools are working their way through a construction timeline, from wrapping up before the school bell rings in September to considering the feasibility of a new high school. APN reporter Mitch McLeod brings us an update on all the projects.
It's an amazing time in Arlington. It's an amazing time in the region. Internally and even publicly, we talk about this. This has never been seen before.
That's how Town Manager Adam Chapdelaine describes the Permanent Town Building Committee's current mandate, juggling 5 different school construction projects at the same time. The biggest question facing the Arlington School District and parents concerns Thompson Elementary.
We're going to stick to our last projection that they will not complete on time. And the reason being is the continued one step forward, one step back.
A $4 million 6-classroom expansion has been in the works since earlier this winter, but a steel delivery delay threatened to push back completion date to after school resumes on the 5th of September.
We're all disappointed. We want it to be open on time. That was the plan. But we've known for a while since the steel was delayed that this was a possibility. So though disappointed, I don't think we're surprised. Further, we learned firmly from the principal of the school that she's been working with the superintendent and other administrators to put in an interim plan to use the modulars that are already on site, as well as repurposing an art classroom until the addition is ready.
On track to wrap up construction this summer is the long-awaited renovation of Stratton Elementary.
Basically, the Stratton School is on schedule. It is within budget. The gym and the cafeteria work has started now that school has ended.
There may be a slight impact on restoring the field adjacent to the Stratton, but I have no doubt coming out of last night that the building's going to be open and ready to go for the school year in September.
Even with these projects wrapping up, the town is moving ahead on 3 more school construction projects. The Gibbs School Building is undergoing conversions to make it into a 6th grade only site, planned to relieve overcrowding at Ottoson Middle School. Long-term occupants of the building, including the Arlington Center for the Arts and the Leslie Ellis School, moved out in June and construction has already begun.
The Gibbs School is on schedule and on budget, and we are now on site as of the beginning of July.
Expected to cost nearly $27 million, the plans call for the school to be ready for the 2018 school year. Moving south, the Hardy School will be getting a 6th classroom expansion to handle an expected influx of students. Construction there will begin next summer and hopefully finish in time for the 2018-2019 school year. Quoted at $3.5 million, the expansion faces some backlash from those concerned how the already limited playground space will be cut down even more. A parent petition has been submitted to the school committee. Finally, the largest undertaking still looms ahead. Arlington High School is in need of a rebuild. The town is participating in the Massachusetts School Building Authority program, which provides significant funding to approve construction projects. Arlington is currently in the feasibility stage of the process.
The MSBA, the Mass School Building Authority, really wants communities to go through a very thorough analytical process to figure out what the best project is. So we'll have to go back to them with 2 to 3 options. So it will take a while, and there'll be a lot of community engagement. We'll want a lot of community feedback. So it'll seem like it takes a long time, but if you're planning for an investment that could approach $200 million, you want to get it right.
Chapdelaine spoke about how the PTBC is coping with so many aggressive timelines and if there are any concerns about more delayed projects.
I think the town has a great track record of planning capital work, budgeting for it, and getting it done, on time and on budget. However, the Thompson timeline, the Gibbs timeline, this Hardy timeline, they are all aggressive and tight timelines. And you really have to just hit every deadline, every milestone to get it done. And even then, it's still a tight timeline. So I do have concerns. I will often say to people, you get criticized for underbuilding, you get fired for overbuilding.
Between the demands of increasing enrollment and financial responsibility, Arlington is working hard to strike the right balance. Here at APN, we'll keep you updated on all the school projects happening around town. For Arlington Public News, I'm Mitch McLeod.
Last month, we showed you how the Bikeway first came to be 25 years ago. Today, we look at the impact increased use has had on the town, on its infrastructure, businesses, and sense of community. 2 million plus users whiz or walk on the Minuteman Bikeway each year. So much that some, like Charles Saunier, seen taking a break here at a cafe, are staying off at peak times.
It gets more and more crowded. People are getting faster and faster. Everybody always seems to be in a hurry. And, those people that go out there for their workouts to cycle like as fast as they can, I find them annoying. And I often feel bad for the people that are out there, like families that are just out to walk, to be out in the woods. And they have to worry about the cyclists coming by at such high speeds. And I personally had an accident. I was knocked off of my bike and ended up in the hospital with a concussion. It's supposed to be for everybody. Even though it's called a bike path, I think it's supposed to be for everybody's enjoyment.
Well, I think it's safe to say it's a victim of its own success.
Christopher Tonkin is a seasoned commuter on the Minuteman Bikeway in Arlington, and as chair of the Bicycle Advisory Committee there, has seen an increase in travelers firsthand.
The amount of usage has just gone up dramatically. The other day there was in one 15-minute period in the morning, there were 71 cyclists went by. If everybody, one of those people, got in a car and drove to Alewife or even drove to Cambridge, just think how much more traffic that would be on the roads. And you're complaining about it being clogged as it is. It would just be a lot worse.
Its soaring popularity as a commuter way ironic, since the town had to originally convince the state that a bikeway was a mode of transportation. The state ultimately paying to convert the former railroad in 1993. This video from then counts 100 cyclists parking at the MBTA Alewife station. Mass DOT tells APN there are 400 parked today.
As you can see, there are a lot of bikes here in the public racks, and there are bikes on the street signs because people ran out of room. And then there are the more secure bike racks for the people who are really serious bike commuters. But then there's just me, and I never get here in time to put my bike on an empty rack.
A review of non-scientific data collected by the Boston Region Metropolitan Planning Organization shows a weekday evening in September of 1993 with 110 cyclists. The same month and time in 2014 shows 228 cyclists and nearly 100 other types of users. But it's not just commuters. An all-day count during a nice Saturday in September of 2014 shows 2,194 cyclists and 1,593 other users, ranging from families with strollers to skaters, and even one person in a wheelchair. The increase has caused the town to look for state money to deal with the literal intersecting of all these users with cars, where the bike path crosses over roadways. $1.5 million for new traffic signals and a bicycle-only crossing at Mass Ave and Pleasant Street, and a special hawk sensor light as the bike path crosses over Mass Ave at Swan Place. And now, a plan for the crossing at Lake Street.
I think the Arlington Center project was really driven by safety. The Lake Street is driven more by trying to do something about the congestion on Lake Street. We're going to apply to MassDOT for funding under a program called Complete Streets. When streets are being designed, they should be designed to suit all the users, not just the cars.
And town planners aren't just looking at it as bicyclists versus cars, but seeing how at Lake Street anyway, all types of users of the bike path can travel together.
You know, when you have a bicyclist who's going at one speed or a pedestrian that's going at another speed and you get to a particular intersection, how can we best accommodate different speeds, different users, different types of equipment?
But all this growth, not a headache for businesses, especially the bike stop with its prime spot right on the bike path behind Dudley Street. This bike stop was really one of the first businesses to cater to the bike path. It used to be a place where you could just sit down while you had your tire fixed and enjoy an ice cream or a candy bar.
We were more of almost like a rest area, I would say. People have really taken to riding bicycles, especially on the bike path, as a mode of transportation. It makes it even easier for people to use the bike path when they know that, you know, there's a bike shop here that's going to help make, you know, riding their bicycles easier and more fun.
And there's other stops along the way to Patron, Trader Joe's and Starbucks in the Heights, and in the East, after several previous incarnations, this appropriately named Kickstand Cafe is picking off travelers as they cross by.
It's a ready source of hungry and thirsty and tired people. I mean, what more could you want outside the front door of your cafe?
And with that front door view, co-owner Emily Shea hopes the Bikeway customers keep coming, not only for food, but for gathering with one another.
As it's evolved, it strikes me as really special, and I think people now are craved for community. People actually come here and talk to each other.
All because of a multi-use bikeway, referred to as a linear park and main street of sorts, one that many like Christopher Tonkin think is a big boon to Arlington.
You know, there's been great changes in Arlington since I came here in 1987, and one of the best I think is the bikeway. It's a great facility to have, and I think it's something that we need to celebrate.
Brenda Mahoney, Arlington Public News. Well, multi-use is really the key term when it comes to the bike path, and you know that it's there for everyone to use, and not only multi-use but in different ways for transportation, actually traveling, commuting and recreation as well.
Yeah, and it has been here for so long, it's hard to imagine a time before it was.
Right, right. And speaking of which, we're on our next segment, in a couple of more weeks, we'll actually take a look at the history of how it was before the bike path, an actual railroad.
When we come back, we will float into the Mystic River to find out about a restoration project underway.
And is your phone filled with videos of your dog being adorable, silly, talented? Well, now is your chance to share them in the first annual Fido Fest, a film fest starring Band's Best Friend.
That and more when we come back.
Going live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Four years ago, an overturned tanker truck dumped thousands of gallons of home heating oil into the Mystic River. Now, funds have been awarded for a riverbank restoration project. News director Heather Avison brings us the story.
Memorial Day weekend of 2013, a tanker truck carrying home heating fuel for J.P. Noonan Company tipped over while trying to navigate the rotary at Mystic Valley Parkway and Medford Street.
Between where the accident was here and the boom that was here right before the next overpass was all the area that was impacted.
Close to 10,000 gallons of the heavy oil leaked into the Mystic River. The Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection Emergency Response Team arrived within hours and began the long process of containing the spilled oil with booms and then vacuuming as much of it as possible from the river. Long-term cleanup and restoration would take time and money.
Secretary of Environmental Affairs acts as a trustee on behalf of the public for natural resources. So when spills like this happen, we can come in and determine what the extent of harm to the river has been and what type of restoration needs to happen in order to compensate for that harm. And so we were able to negotiate with the responsible party to receive funds that we then worked with the community to identify restoration projects that would improve water quality and also improve the quality of the habitat along the river.
So Arlington wrote a grant to do specific restoration work in this part of the river because of this broken concrete head wall that's here and a broken pipe.
The proposal was approved by the Natural Resources Assessment and Restoration Grant Program. Arlington was awarded $47,000 to repair and improve the Mystic Riverbank environment.
There are two projects that are happening. One project is totally funded by the NRDA grant, and that project is to fix the broken head wall, to put new plantings in here, native plantings to stabilize the riverbanks so we don't have this erosion down into the riverbank, to create a garden area, a riparian habitat area for wildlife as well as for the community to enjoy. Second project is fully funded by the town, and they are going to do a new storm scepter, a new stormwater system to prevent silt and gravel and things from the road, debris from directly coming into the river and this new habitat.
One thing that we really liked about the Arlington project is the fact that it is a combination of approaches. They're not simply improving the riparian habitat through plantings, but they're also addressing the water quality inputs to the river to make sure that any runoff from our roadways is entering the river in a cleaner condition so that the actual water column of the river itself also gets healthier, so that it's not just the riverbanks. And that integrated approach is really exactly what we were hoping would be proposed.
Heavy construction will begin this fall. The head wall will be removed, the garden area will be laid out, and trees will be planted. In the spring, smaller plantings will go in, and the community and school green teams are invited to participate.
ACMi is teaming up with A-Dog, the Arlington Dog Owners Group, to present the first ever Fido Fest. On August 19th, the most adorable, funny, and quirky dog videos will be unleashed at Spy Pond Park. Plan to bring the family and the family dog down to Spy Pond Field for the 7 p.m. screening. Fido Fest organizer Jen Burns and friends sat down with News Director Heather Avison to tell us more.
Jen, welcome. We're
you.
so excited to find out more about Fido Fest and who you brought with you today.
This is Gracie. This is one of my clients' pups. Gracie is the sweetest girl in the world.
She obviously adores you.
She loves love. I love her so. And so we have videos of Gracie, and she's going to be featured in Fido Fest.
She is.
Yes,
Okay.
it's coming up in August 19th at Spy Pond Field at 7 p.m. And we've taken videos of dogs from Arlington, surrounding towns. People have sent videos in, and we're so excited about the event. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And ACMi and A-Dog have teamed up to present this film fest of Fido.
It was a perfect match. A-Dog is the Arlington Dog Owners Group, and we're all about responsible dog ownership here in Arlington. They helped create the Thorndike Dog Park down at Thorndike Field, and the off-leash dog hours that are available around town also. And so we're always doing community events with and without dogs to really, celebrate our local dogs.
Yeah. Where can people find out more information about off-leash hours and Thorndike Dog Park if they want to? Is there a website that they can go to? Is there an A-Dog website?
Exactly. ArlingtonDogOwnersGroup.org is a wonderful resource. And they have all the parks that have the off-leash hours. Also, the Arlington Animal Control Officer is a wonderful resource. Yes, exactly, for the town, and we work closely with her.
We all have videos of dogs on our phones.
We all watch them late at night.
Right. Forget the kittens. It's really the dogs. We know we have them. made you think about putting together this festival?
Well, I think we all really enjoy them. And you know, when you have a dog and you have that community of people and they want to show you what their dogs are doing and the funny things they do, we wanted to kind of celebrate that and show off all the wonderful talents and funny tricks and goofy expressions and floppy ears, you know, of Arlington dogs. And
How many people dubbed in their dogs talking? Was that okay? Could you do that?
Oh yeah, there's a great app for that, and
there's an app for that. Of course there is.
And people have sent in apps of their dogs talking. There's hilarious videos of dogs chasing their tails at the beach, jumping after balls. We've had a couple of people send in spoofs of kind of that Sarah McLachlan, you know, sending money to the ASPCA.
Right, the one that I have to turn off.
Exactly,
it makes me feel too bad.
Well, this one's a spoof on the shelter workers, and and so it's quite amusing. And let's see, we've had dogs doing certain treats or tricks to do treats. We've had
well, before you give away all the secrets.
Oh, sure.
If people still want to submit a video of their dog, because we don't want to give away the punchline here too much.
Exactly.
Can they still submit, and where should they go to do that?
They can do that. We've extended the deadline to August 13th, just because we've had such great response, but not everybody's been able to meet that deadline. But you can submit your video at acmi.tv/Fido Fest. That's if you have a YouTube video. Now, if you want to send in a file, you can do that also. You can also just email me at jen@blueskydogsma.com.
Excellent. Well, I'm really looking forward to it if I can come up with a video between now and then.
Oh,
I'm going to submit it.
I hope you do. Gracie will love it.
But we'll see you there. Thank you so much for coming in today. Thanks, Gracie. You were great.
Well, that should be a lot of fun, James.
Well, you know what W.C. Field said about taking the stage. Never work with animals or children. And he was right. I've seen some of these entries, and there's no way to compete with these mutts.
No, that's right, and that's what they've always said. You know, children and pets, they are an attraction. Well, the solar eclipse is coming. We'll show you how to get a great view safely.
That and more when we come back.
Hello, my name is Kylie Sullivan, and I'm a health compliance officer with the Arlington Board of Health. At the Board of Health, we interpret and enforce state, federal, and local regulations pertaining to health, specifically regarding food establishments, housing issues, and nuisance complaints such as pests, odors, and noises. For more information, please visit the town website, or you can give us a call at 781-316-3170.
Eclipses happen about every 6 months, but on Monday, August 21st, New England will experience the most significant solar eclipse since 1984. Viewing an eclipse is a spectacular experience. Reporter Mitch McLeod and astronomist Bruce Ward show us how to view it safely using items you can find around the house.
Everybody in town is looking forward to the upcoming solar eclipse later this month, and APN is bringing you the easiest and safest ways to witness this amazing event using simple materials you already have at home.
But now we're going to have a total here. We'll have a partial, will be about 60, I think in Arlington, about 60% covered. It will begin, first contact is about 1:30 on the 21st. The major or maximum coverage will be at about 2:45, and that'll be about 60% here. The further south you go, closer to the path line of the eclipse, the more coverage you get.
The easiest way to view an eclipse is called pinhole projection. You can do this in about 2 minutes if you've got paper, tinfoil, a pin, and some scissors laying around your house. First, we start by cutting a square out of one piece of paper. Attach a square of tinfoil to the hole. Next, we'll poke a hole in the middle of the tinfoil with a pin. Then, using this piece of paper, we'll angle it towards the sun so that the image of the sun shines right through the hole.
This is probably, in terms of the experience, probably the one that is less fruitful. You really have to get far enough away so the image is large, and the further you get away, then the fuzzier the image will often become. So, but this works okay.
If you're looking for an easy yet more effective way to see the eclipse, then the pinhole camera is the way to go. Dr. Ward's personal favorite All you need is a long cardboard box, as well as paper, scissors, tinfoil, and a pin. You'll want to make sure that the box is light-proof. Then, cut a small hole in one side, and place a sheet of tinfoil over this hole, just like you did last time. Pierce this foil with a pin. Next, you'll want to cut a sizable viewing hole at the opposite side of the box. After that's there, place the piece of paper on the wall on this side of the box. This will be where the image is projected onto. As you can see, this functions very similarly to the pinhole projection.
This is a perfect one. Now you see right away the tiny pinhole, but the image here of the sun is significantly larger and sharper. Okay, so this is a great one. And you can see the image here is about maybe 5 or 6 millimeters in diameter, so that's really a good size. You can easily see the moons in front of the sun with this kind of a setup.
If you're itching for a challenge and looking for a way to show the eclipse to multiple people, then optical projection is the project for you. You'll just need either binoculars or a telescope. Besides that, you'll need to gather a tripod, cardboard, and a thick piece of white paper. Start by cutting a screen for the binoculars so only one eyepiece is exposed. If you're using a telescope, still cut a screen to make viewing the eclipse as clear as possible. Tape the screen you just made to your binoculars. Use liberal amounts of tape to attach this to the tripod. Then, carefully, without looking at the sun, angle the binoculars so that they catch the sunlight while projecting a beam of light onto the paper. This way, plenty of people can see the sun at the same time.
It's an indirect way. I think the most important thing is what you're doing here is making it possible for people to look at this without looking at the sun directly themselves. And there are a variety of different ways to do this indirectly. This is a particularly nice one. What you've done, obviously I didn't do this, so it's a great job. You took a binocular and you masked off but one of the openings, and you're just projecting the sun through there.
For those of us not feeling so constructive, Dr. Ward also informed us about viewing methods you can buy, including mirrors, welding glass, and eclipse viewing glasses.
Now mirrors in general have the reflective aluminum or what silvering put on the back. And this one actually is front, but you can even use any kind of a mirror. You'll get a little bit of a double or fuzzy image. The mirror is simply reflecting the image of the sun. So when you've reflected over into a shadowed area, and the further you get away from it, the bigger the image will be. So this is a number 14 welder's glass, and this is the one that's recommended for using when you're viewing the sun at any time. And just hold it between you and the sun, and the image of the sun will have a little bit of a greenish tinge to it because this is green color. And the last thing that's available, and you want to make certain that it says the glasses, and it says safe for a direct solar viewing, all right? And there are lots of them on sale now, and these are perfect. And for large numbers of people watching an eclipse, these are really the go-to thing that's inexpensive.
And never forget the most important rule of eclipse viewing.
Every second you're looking at the sun, you want a filter in front of using some appropriate filter, okay?
If you are interested in learning more about making an eclipse viewing device or where to purchase solar viewing materials, please visit our website at acmi.tv/news. For APN, I'm Mitch McLeod.
Everyone is invited to view the eclipse on August 21st at Robbins Farm with local astronomer Jeff Alexander. Jeff will be here on our next show to tell us more about the eclipse.
Thanks for joining us on Wednesday, August 16th. We'll be doing our newscast from outside the Jefferson Cutter House, right in Arlington Center. So come on by and say hello. We'd love to see you there.
We are really looking forward to seeing you there. You can check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Arlington Public.
If you'd like to be a part of the Arlington Public News team at ACMi, email us at news@acmi.tv or simply stop by our studio at 85 Park Ave.
I'm James Milan.
And I'm Brenda Mahoney. Thanks for joining us.
Good night.